go. Well, before we start, I actually want to acknowledge this. And it's not just in the U.S. I think around the world. I'm not sure exactly where you're from. Uh,
Yeah.
it's actually uncommon for men, especially, to be able to self-scout, identify a weakness, and then like reach out and then ask for help or coaching or whatever, right? So I think that ability is very important because one, you could blame something else, right, or be in denial. Usually, it's blaming something else. But if you can continuously always self scout and like, hey, something's not quite right here, and then try to figure it out, at the end, it's always going to work out. Okay, so I do want to acknowledge that because that's actually uncommon, and I wish it was more common in the world. So first of all, this is a zero-sum game, right? So you mentioned this earlier about KP. If you're trading positive, it's at the expense of someone else. Someone is trading negative. Like not everyone is going to trade positive. Okay.
Right.
So with your gear and your spend and your armaments, let's actually pull that up. I actually agree with your assessment. It should be higher. Okay. I would say if I was looking at this, and let's just say you got to play 5 for 30 hours during a KVK, right? The way I like to think about it a lot of times, just because factors that are outside your control, matchmaking, Diplo, right? I had a few KVKs where straight up there was just no fighting, or maybe I got 10 hours at most. You just do the best you can, but like what else can you do when there's no fighting? Like it's very one-sided, one way or another. Like an opponent refuses to fight you. Unfortunately for me, the last kingdom I was in, there was a lot of problem. Well, leadership pretty much like gave up or retired, and we didn't know, and our whole camp pretty much didn't show up to fight, right? So you just do the best you can. That's outside your control. The things that you can control, your equipment, your armament, your technology that includes crystal tech. People like to think of them as separate, but they're actually all part of the same pot, right? Because a point of attack, whether it's from crystal tech, from your equipment, for your armament, still adds a point of attack. It's not like they go in different buckets. So it's very common. You'll see people with very good equipment and then they're very mid or below average armaments because they don't like the armament system, right? If they get over that block, what they can gain from the armaments will be way more, like essentially like per dollar spent or per time or hour spent, as opposed to just still fixating on more and more equipment stuff. So you have good equipment and armaments, right? Like there's obviously people like whales especially that have stuff that's better, but it's more than good enough to, like, if you wanted to pull like 2 billion KP in a KVK, it should be happening, right? So
Right. And that's where like that's exactly where I see the problem.
right, okay, so it's
Like I should be getting it, but I'm not getting it, and it's like, where am I going wrong?
yeah, so we could talk about this because like there's stuff I see with your equipment and armaments, even maybe like pairings, like there's some, I don't want to call them micro optimization. You can get some optimization out of it, but it's already good enough, like more than good enough. All right, so we're not going to focus on that first. The other one is your ability to sustain on the field. Okay, so to sustain on the field, one, you need resources and speed ups. And do you have resource challenges when you're in KVK? Like how about how much?
I
Okay,
usually
okay,
I usually have enough. Like like currently in my, like right now I don't have resources in my on my account, but it's we just got out of KVK and I haven't done my farms yet,
yeah,
etc. etc. But I usually carry, I think I have about 10 billion,
okay. So okay,
resources in the bag. So it's
okay. Like total or per resource type?
per resource type.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
resources is not a problem for you.
Gold, gold is probably a little lower than that, but like
Yeah.
you get the idea. Like I
Okay.
have quite a
Yeah.
bit in the bag. So
Okay, that's not gonna be a challenge. Okay, and then speed ups the same, I
yeah.
assume.
Speed ups are the same. I generally don't keep like training speed ups or anything like that. I don't
Hmm.
save. I don't go for like zeniths or anything like that. I think they're
Yeah.
a waste.
Yeah.
My opinion on zenith skins are, I'm not spending 5 grand on 5%
Yeah.
stats.
No, no,
There's just absolutely
they're
zero chance that's happening.
they're for most people a waste. I agree. It's crazy what people will sacrifice like in other parts of the game to go and push for Zenith, but you know it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the other one is the amount of time you get to play. All right, so it sounds like work comes first. Obviously, you gotta feed yourself and the family. And then when you don't work, you can play all day. So about
That's
how many?
generally, yeah.
Okay, about how many hours? Uh, when they're see, like this is hard to quantify. Uh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, every day is different.
yeah.
I do like to try to I do my dailies every day.
Mhm.
So, whether or not it's after work or before work, I make sure I get the dailies done,
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about more
hitting,
about during KBK when there's fighting, like because actual time on the field, because right, because your equipment could be like another 20% better, right? But if you just don't have enough
mhm,
time on the field, it doesn't matter. Like you could have the
right.
like the best, you're doing everything you should. Literally, you just like you're gonna get a certain amount of kill points per hour, right? So like that's actually
Well,
one
so
way.
this is
Yeah,
the thing, like, if I know there's going to be a fight or a pass opening before I start work,
yeah,
I'll wake up early just to go fight for a few hours before I end up going to work.
yeah,
And then the same thing afterwards, after I get off work, I mean, I usually work 10, 12 hours. I
yeah,
get off work and I spend another 3, 4 hours on the game.
yeah.
Um, and so like, I mean, if I'm working, it's a little, obviously lower amount of hours, but when I'm not working, I get as many hours as I can, as long as there's fights.
Okay. And then
Um,
are you playing on a PC?
Currently, no, I'm playing on my phone.
Okay. that's probably
Yeah,
the biggest challenge. Do you have a PC?
it is. I do. Um, Look, it's the functions. I mean, everyone likes them, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm not a PC kind of. I've never been into PC games
Yeah.
because of the keyboard functionalities and stuff. They're
Right.
just weird to me.
Right.
Um, but I mean, it's something I could look at doing
Okay.
again,
So
trying it out.
okay. After I went to a PC, honestly I think that's probably the biggest issue. Let's see, when did I go to a PC? I think I've actually went to a PC for the first time the beginning of KVK3. And just for a reference, I came out of KVK3 with like 200, a little over 200 million KP. I was free to play for maybe like 6, 7 months, and then I just like I don't want to use a PC. Once you use it, and it was really quick. It maybe took 30 minutes to get used to. You're like, oh my god, what the hell was I doing? Like, what the hell was I? I
Yeah,
can't believe I was playing on the phone before. The reason why is because with a PC, the ability you have to control is so much more refined. But also, you can play dot mode. I tried doing dot mode just once on a phone before, and I'm like, what is this? Like, it's not the same. So, in the game, right? I said this, I think, in an email. I didn't say it so far. This isn't a high skill game. Whereas, if you watch like a first person shooter, you like the reaction time, the amount of things that they're able to do at once, and then almost like plan ahead and like
right.
shoot people. It's ridiculous, right? This isn't that type of
It's
game.
drag and drop.
Yeah,
It's drag and drop.
yeah. Where
It's
where
not.
where
It's not very skillful.
where the quote unquote skill for this game comes in is you're managing essentially like maybe 15 different systems at once. There's an equipment system, there's an armament system, there's how do you have farms, you buy resources. Obviously money helps, right? But then even when you're playing, can you manage your life? Can you show up when you're supposed to show up? If you have a girlfriend, wife, or whatever, can you actually manage that situation where it's not getting in the way of that? So right, and then putting all of that together, and then you literally just either get on voice or you follow markers, you do what you're supposed to do, you get kill points, you contribute in the kingdom, right? But it's not like you're doing this crazy stuff where you watch someone stream like the best of the best player, you're like, oh my god, how did he click that button like that? It's not that type of game.
Yeah.
So
No.
with the PC, if you're not getting good trades, I think if you go with a PC, and I would actually highly recommend you do dot mode, just
Okay.
because the control is completely different when you're in dot
Right.
mode. Like you can see where everything is, and then once you kind of get a sense of it, right? It's probably not as exciting to watch, but when you're playing, you'll even notice like whenever you target someone, right, the screen's gonna flicker, they're gonna retreat. right? So you can even get a
Yeah.
sense what other people do, and your trades get exponentially better just from switching from phone to PC.